Mm.
Chapter 24. The Engagement. The road out of the village rose in a slow, meandering spiral, each turn granting a new angle on the valley below. Chad took the incline with deliberate patience, as if the world outside might slip away if they hurried. At the crest of the final hill, he pulled off onto a gravel turnout where the grass had surrendered to tire ruts, then killed the engine. For a minute, neither of them moved. The silence was denser here, the wind scraping low across the fields, the sun painting the far-off hedgerows in bands of gold and shadow. Serena squinted against the brightness, propping the hat with one hand while the other gathered the bag of market spoils. She waited for Chad to issue instructions, but he only smiled and said,
"After you."
She stepped from the car, feeling the wind reach instantly for the hem of her dress. The view was staggering. No fences, no hedges, just an endless roll of earth falling away toward the river, the village a toyscape of roofs and slate. Distant sheep wandered in a loose constellation on the nearest hillside, indifferent to the spectacle. Chad retrieved a blanket from the trunk, a tartan wool, heavy and soft, and spread it on the dry grass. He crouched, arranging the food with a casual competence, then motioned for Serena to join him. She sat, knees tucked under, the blanket prickling her legs through the thin cotton. The wind stole the hat twice before she managed to anchor it with a hairpin. Chad uncorked a thermos of coffee and poured it into enamel mugs. The smell was rich, dark, nothing like the filtered brown sadness that Margaret brewed each morning. He offered a mug, then handed her the croissant, which had flattened slightly in the bag but still flaked apart at the touch.
"Is it safe to eat?"
Serena teased, trying for lightness. Chad grinned.
Margaret vetted everything. She'd haunt me if I poisoned you.
Serena laughed, the sound unguarded, and tore into the croissant. She chased each bite with sips of coffee, then balanced a berry on the rim of her mug and ate it in one slow, deliberate motion.
"Perfect,"
she said, voice full. She ate without hurry. Chad sliced cheese onto crackers, stacked them into tiny towers, and watched as Serena toppled each one with a greedy delight. Once, when she reached for a napkin, their fingers touched, and she startled at how warm his hand was, how real. When the food dwindled, Chad leaned back on his elbows, squinting into the sun. His expression was open, free of the careful mask he wore at home. For the first time, Serena thought she could see the boy he must have been, reckless, alive, intent on wringing every ounce of pleasure from the day. She said,
"I could get used to this,"
then wondered if it sounded like a challenge. He turned to her, a hint of something serious threading the smile.
"We can do this as often as you like. Just say the word."
"Every day?"
she joked.
"If you want,"
he said, not joking at all.
"Every single day."
She looked away, letting the wind and the sun do their work. The hat flapped, casting her face in flickers of light and dark. When she stole a glance back, Chad was watching her, his gaze frank and searching. He pushed himself upright, then shifted to face her fully, knees bent and steady on the blanket.
"Lana,"
he said, and she heard the effort it cost him to use the name.
"I know that I haven't always been the perfect fiancé. I know I'm not easy, and I know."
He trailed off, eyes on his hands.
"But I want to make you the happiest woman in the universe. I want to make up for everything."
She froze, a berry halfway to her mouth. The sun flashed off the ring on her finger, a detail she'd always noticed in the abstract, but which now seemed to burn with a private heat. Chad took her hand, careful, reverent. He knelt, like something out of a movie or a fevered dream, and looked up at her with a sincerity that threatened to unmoor her completely.
"Will you marry me, Lana? Will you say yes, here and now?"
For a moment she forgot to breathe. She wanted to laugh or cry or run, but instead she pressed her fingers to her mouth and said,
"Didn't you propose to me already, silly? I may not remember it, but I can only assume I said yes."
He grinned, but it was wobbly around the edges.
"We never set a date, and I want you to pick it." anytime you want. I just want you to be happy.
Serena giggled, and then, to her own surprise, she started to cry. The tears came quick, thin and cold in the wind, and she scrubbed them away with the heel of her hand. Chad kissed her knuckles, not with hunger or possession, but with a gentleness that stunned her.
You're all right?
He asked, voice low. She nodded, and when she finally trusted herself to speak, she said,
Yes, I'll marry you. But you have to promise me one thing.
Anything,
he said, and she believed him.
Don't ever let me forget this,
She said, gesturing at the sky, the hills, the blanket, the soft ruin of their lunch.
Not the bad days, not the good ones, not the weird ones. Promise me you won't let me forget.
He drew her into his arms, holding her so tightly the hat finally surrendered and tumbled away down the hillside. She laughed, and he joined her, and for a perfect, impossible minute, Serena felt as if nothing bad could ever find her again. They lay back on the blanket, side by side, the clouds marching overhead and the world turning quietly beneath them. The wind braided through her hair, pulling it loose strand by strand, and when she closed her eyes, all she could see was light. She stayed that way until the sun dipped below the farthest ridge, and only then did she think to ask when, exactly, they would set the date. But Chad only smiled, cryptic and calm, and said,
Let's just stay right here, for a little while longer.
Serena agreed, and this time she meant it.
This gilded room, the winter light, a silver comb. You ask me why I keep you here, behind the lock, the silent fear. I see the question